Live on DSV channel 421, Go TV channel 125. Good morning, welcome to Newsdesk. Within the next 60 minutes, coming up, President John Dramani Mahama submits his first set of regional ministers for parliamentary approval. We have details of who exactly they are here on Newsdesk. Also coming up, WAPCO postpones its planned pipeline maintenance by 2 weeks to accommodate the interest of key stakeholders. And much later, Ghana National Fire Service to deploy personnel and fire appliances at markets across the country in a bid to curb fire incidents. My name is Faustina Saf. It's a good time to take a seat and be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now, we start with President John Dramani Mahama's administration because he has written to Parliament seeking to approve 10 regional ministers. Well, the letter to the Speaker of Parliament details the portfolio of the President's nominees for these positions. Now, this move is part of his effort to reorganize his administration following his assumption of office. Now, let's run you through the list, some of the key individuals that made it to that list. Now, we know that we have 16 regions in the country, but so far he has given us the list of 10 regional ministers and we're waiting the other 6. Well, on your screens now, let's go through the names on that list. And it's from 16 regions, but we have just 10 so far. Now, the first person on that list is Ali Adolf John for the Northern region. We also have John K. Japong for the OT region. For the Volta region, James Gunu. And for the Eastern region, Mrs. Rita Awate. We also have Ibrahim Tia for the Northeast region, Frank Amakohini for the Ashanti region, and we also have Akumugri Atanga for the Upper East region, Charity Gardner for the Ahafu region, Salisu B. Awere B for the Savannah region, Linda Oklu for the Greater Accra region. So far, out of the 10 names he has put forward, we know that there are 3 women in that list and 7 men. So we're waiting the other regions and we're hoping that he would be releasing that soon enough. Now, the minority have already raised concerns about what they term as tot appointments, but let's engage a local governance expert, Andrews Bidiako, for more on this. Let's look at the expertise these individuals bring on board. Thank you so much, Andrews, for your time here on Newsdesk. Your initial thoughts about this list, though? Mr. Andrews, you might have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Thank you very much, my sister. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please make your point.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning once again to your viewers and listeners across the globe.
Good morning.
Before I come to your question, I would like to put this caution to all of us as Ghanaians and to the President as well. I have the President saying there are foodstuffs stuck at the Tema port. And for that matter, because our senior high school students are unable to get food to eat, he has directed the Chief of Staff to make sure these food items are released to them. And I think we should be very careful about what we do. What I know, because I was also with the system, is that these items are for farmers. Farmers who had challenge with the drought that occurred last year.
Indeed, and government has made it clear that as part of efforts to immediately address the concerns in senior high schools across the country, that is the reason why they would be moving these items. And the President gave that directive at the Thanksgiving service. He said it took effect immediately. And as at yesterday, when we spoke to key stakeholders on Newsnight on Joy FM, we are sure that these items are on their way to the schools. So what exactly is your concern that the schools...
My concern is that those items are meant for farmers who were affected in 8 regions last year during the drought. Okay. And government entered into a contract with World Bank. So these items are for the farmers, and these farmers are already registered online across all the 8 regions, i.e. the 5 northern regions, Bono East, and Ahafo region. These are the 8 regions that are supposed to get these items. So if the president is directing that we should give these items to these students, I don't have any problem. But we should make sure, or we should know that this is a World Bank contract. So when we are dealing with World Bank issues, we should be very careful. That is the portion that I want to put across, because the information I'm getting is that, my sister, some of the directors within the value chain are not happy about the directives. But you know the politics that we have in Ghana, and people cannot speak because there is a new government in power. So if we don't take care and we go ahead to do some of, I don't know the engagement that the president and his team have with the World Bank that they are giving that directive. But it's a caution that I am sending out, say, that these items are meant for those farmers who were affected through World Bank and Government of Ghana projects. That's what I want to say. So that in future, when issues come up, we all know that some people somewhere issue a portion, but people did not listen. World Bank projects are not like Government of Ghana projects, so we should be very careful. Now that I've cleared that issue, what you have asked, I think is in order. The president has exercised his constitutional mandate that he needs to get ministers in place to help him run his government, and that is exactly what government has done. So government has not breached any law in the first place. But another thing that I would say is that these people that we have selected, or government has selected, I don't know them much. Yesterday I was going through their CVs, and I can see that most of them have the experience, and if they are willing to work, I think they can work for the various regions that they will be posted to. And I think it's in order. President has fulfilled his constitutional mandate, elected parliament to vet them and approve them, so that president will swear them into the various regions for them to have their work done. Elected 6 regions. We are yet to see those who will be appointed. But I'm happy that one Dr. Frank Amwakohene has been appointed. He's a youthful guy, like some of us. And I think when the youth are given the opportunity, we should excel, so that going forward, people will know that when you give opportunity to the youth, they can also perform, and that the confidence that the president has in him will also translate into other areas. This is not the first time that we have seen president appointing young ones to their government or in their government. President Akufo-Addo did it. The lists are there for us to see. And I think it's a good call. As the youth have always been expressing their views, and youth always helping to move this country forward. One opportunity avails itself like this, and they are considered. I think it's good. But most of the people on the list, I don't know them. I know one, the Greater Accra one, who happens to be a member of parliament, I think 310 or something like that. And Dr. Mwakohene too, because I work in the Ashanti region, I got to know him, and I think he can do the work. So let us wait. Let us see what they are bringing on board. But I think these are new faces. Unlike previously, the Mills administration, we realized that people who served under Jerry John Rawlings were the same people that he appointed to serve, most of them appointed to serve in his government. And we didn't see much of impact in the country. And I think at this time around, these people are coming on board. As I said, let's see what they bring on board. And I think I have confidence in them that they can do the work. Per the CVs that I have read, I think they can do it better.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrews Bidiako. He is a governance expert. Now, away from that, let's deal with energy this time, because the West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, has postponed its planned pipeline maintenance by 2 weeks to accommodate the interests of key stakeholders. Now, a statement from WAPCO reveals that the 4-week exercise would have involved a temporary suspension of reverse gas flow from Ghana's western region to Tema and the shutdown of key facilities in Tema. Now, it also affects some facilities in Lomé, Togo, Cotonou, and in Benin. Well, on your screens now is a statement from WAPCO, and it reads that the West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited has announced a revised schedule for its planned offshore pipeline cleaning and inspection exercise, commonly known as PIGIN. Initially set to commence on January 20, 2025, the offshore PIGIN has been rescheduled to start on February 3rd, 2025 to better accommodate the interest of key stakeholders. The 4-week exercise will involve temporary suspension of reverse gas flow from Ghana's western region to Tema, also in Ghana, and the shutdown of key facilities in Tema, Ghana, and in Lomé, Togo, Cotonou, and Benin. Now, the statement goes on to say that this shutdown period, during the shutdown period, WAPCO will replace subsea valves located at strategic locations to enhance operational safety. The comprehensive cleaning and inspection exercise is a key regulatory requirement and aligns with industry best practices to ensure the safety and efficient operation of the West African gas pipeline. Now, the project encompasses the entire pipeline infrastructure from Itoki in Ogun State, Nigeria, to Takoradi in Western region. The cleaning exercise is in 2 phases. The first phase, completed in December 2024, involved cleaning and inspection and inspecting the offshore section of the pipeline within Nigeria. The second phase, scheduled to run from February 3rd to March 2nd, 2025, will focus on offshore section of WAG and stretching from Badagry, Lagos State, Nigeria, to Takoradi, Western region, Ghana. WAPCO is required to conduct these inspections every 5 years as part of efforts to maintain the integrity of WAG and ensure the continued safety and reliable operation across the West African region. Well, moving on, the Ghana National Fire Service says it is working to reduce the number of fire incidents recorded across the country. The service says it will, from today, deploy personnel and fire appliances at various markets across the country from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily to provide round-the-clock fire cover. Now, the team will also include a dedicated task force to patrol the markets daily to ensure swift action in case of any fire outbreaks and provide constant vigilance. Now, for more on this, I have in the studio Desmond Aka, who is Head of Public Relations at the Ghana National Fire Service. Thank you so much for your time here on NewsDesk. But then let me just run you through the statement and then also give you an overview of some of the key things that we've put together here at Joy News, our research desk, just looking at how well-resourced the Ghana National Fire Service is. And so to ensure that we have all the data, we've streamlined it for you. Now, there are 248 available appliances which the Ghana National Fire Service is working with. Out of this number, 133 are faulty. That marks 53.6%. Now, this is a regional breakdown of the faulty appliances, and it starts from the Upper East region all the way to the Northern region. Now, if we take the Volta region, for example, only 88% of the appliances which the fire service works with there is functional. With the Upper East and OT region, thankfully, all appliances there are functional. But let's come to Greater Accra region. Only 60% of the appliances they use in taming the flames are actually functional. The situation gets worse when you look at the Eastern region, the Western North, the Ahafo region, the Ashanti region, the Savannah region, and the Bono region. Now, if you look at the eastern region, only 41%, 0.60% of the appliances in that region is functional. If you look at the western north region, only 33.30% of the facilities they have there are functional. If you look at Ahafo region, 33%, Ashanti region, unfortunately, just 24%, Savannah region, 17%, and Bono region, 15.38%, and Northern region. So the worst performing regions, we know the Northern region, the Bono region, Savannah region, Ashanti region, Ahafo region, Western North, Eastern region, and it gets better from there. Bono East, Western region, Northeast Accra, however, is a point of focus for us this morning as we look at how well resourced is indeed the fire service to live up to this directive given to them by the president. Now, if you look at the regional breakdown from the Ghana National Fire Service, and we see that at their headquarters office, they have 8 available appliances, and 6 of that 8 is faulty. In the Greater Accra region, they have 25 appliances, 15 of that is faulty. In the Northeast region, 5 appliances, 3 faulty. Western region, 16, 9 faulty. Ashanti region, 25, 6 faulty. Upper East region, 16. All 16 of them are faulty in the Upper East region. In the OT region, 8 appliances, and all 8 of them are faulty. So if you look at the map we showed you earlier, where we had 100% for the OT region and the Upper East region, we were trying to let you know that in those regions, all the appliances available there are faulty. In the Volta region, 17 appliances, 15 faulty. Upper East region, 14, 12 faulty. Central region, 22, 15 faulty. So let me bring in Desmond Aka at this point, because we've just read the statement. You're already deploying your members across the country to ensure safety. But are you well resourced to have this done?
All right, so thanks for having me. And let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. We have not hidden it from Ghanaians. Since, let's say, for the past 3 years, we've been talking about the fact that we are challenged. And we've made our case known to government and the good people of this country that we don't have it all. And as an evolving institution, this is also bound to happen. And these engines are aged. And every now and then, even as we try to maintain them, they break down, and then we put them back on the road. So this data that you were going through, I think was compiled somewhere in June last year. And was made available to you. As I speak with you, even before the Christmas break, the management of Ghana National Fire Service, led by our able Chief Fire Officer, CFO Julius Alepkure Kuno, ensured that the maintenance team moved into these regions. And as I speak, a place like Upper West, where we had 12 of these vehicles down, now we have all of them back on the road. Some of the faults were dysfunctional radiators, brakes, beacon lights and all that. So the faults ranges from minor to major. So for all the tenders in Upper West, all of them are back on commission, in commission. OT, 8 tenders were out of commission as at that time. As I speak with you, 3 of them are back on road. Efforts are being put in place to repair the remaining fire tenders. And across the country, in aggregating them, about 85% of these tenders are back on the road. But the fact still remains that management remains committed and to be able to put into use or back on the road some of these appliances. And now the challenge here is we are spending a huge chunk of our resources in maintaining some of these broken down vehicles. And I know that even as government has heard our plea, I remember the previous regime, it got to the procurement processes involved in procuring us with these new state-of-the-art fire engines got to the value for money stage. And then we know that this new government who have been presented with the same challenge, and they are working. And the assurance is that very soon we are going to get these fire engines to be able to augment our efforts to be able to deal with the fires that confront us.
I'm just going through the statement you put out on the back of the president's directive, and I'm looking at the number of personnel you are deploying. You say that you have deployed personnel to markets across the country, but you do not state just how many exactly you're deploying. Can you give me the specifics?
All right, so you would bear with me that in recent years, we've recruited, government has helped us to recruit well over 7,000 workforce for us. And this exercise is not new, just that this time around we want to add some innovation to it. And therefore, we want to deploy as many as possible of our personnel to help us to be able to deal with this incessant market fires, especially where we are having this challenge or has to do with these makeshift market structures where it is not properly planned and the predominant structures are wooden and they are closely knit to each other. Illegal wiring connection is very rife in some of these markets. So what we want to do differently from what we've been doing in times past is to ensure that this market task force is really activated so that they get to the doorsteps of these traders. Some of them would be made to go with visuals. Others are also going to go with audio visuals. Currently, what even the Accra Command is doing is that they have some messages, audio messages, that they play in all these markets within Greater Accra. So at various timings, maybe in the morning, at dawn, in the evening, and in the afternoon, they play these messages. So even if you don't have a one-on-one engagement with our fire personnel, at least you are able to hear one or two messages which is able to affect the behaviors of these traders and then beneficiaries of this market facilities. And we hope that when we are able to add the visuals to it, the visuals would kind of appeal to their conscience that these are the things that you do. Once they see it and then they are able to resonate with it, then it means that it's going to go a long way to change behaviors to afford us to prevent some of these hellish fires in our markets. Again, the market task force is going to conduct risk assessment in some of these markets such that the hazards will be identified, the risks will be mitigated so that in effect, the collaboration between us and the market managers as well as the various stakeholders within the market space would work closely to mitigate all these challenges, whereby we are even directing the managers of this market to contract certified, competent electricians or electrical engineers to be able to help them put in their wiring installations in order, buy quality materials and do the needful so that fires emanating from the various electrical faults will be nipped in the bud. So for this initiative to be very, very successful, we will need the cooperation of all other stakeholders. That is why we are collaborating with the Ghana Police Service, the National Security, to kind of widen our surveillance, where we'll be able to foil attempts by, people with ill motives who want to set these important infrastructure ablaze. Once they see our vehicles there, our beacon lights are there, once our people are also in the market 24/7, at least it's going to help us to be able to keep some of these nefarious activities in check. We've also identified this issue where the traders themselves contract individuals to keep watch over their wares. This makes some of them sleep in the market. They cook there, they smoke, all manner of activities that tends to create fire conditions in the market. What we are going to do differently is to put these people together and train them as fire wardens, train them on the use of fire extinguishers. You know, the extinguishers are first aid appliances that would help us to be able to keep fires at their nascent stages, their initial stages at bay. Once we are able to empower them in that area, and they are always in the market, once they see these fires erupt, they will be able to deal with the fires as quickly as possible. And we are going to empower them with our hotlines. We've realized that, especially with the Cantonment to fire, when the fire happened, we had a lot of people there, but none of them took the pain to call us. So our people stationed closer to the market saw the fire and then initiated a response until a 12-year-old boy even came to prompt them that this is what he has also seen. So what is happening to us as Ghanaians? Some of us are not trying to be Ghanaians. We are trying to be spectators.
Well, I'm sure another concern is also about the response time, and to a large extent is because of the availability of equipment to do the groundwork. You agree?
Let me tell you, my sister, in 2012, the Ghana Statistical Agency or Service brought out a survey about our response time. And they intimated that we're doing an average response time of 12 minutes. Okay. Way back in 2012. Currently, as I speak with you, we are doing an average of 8 minutes. The Cantonment to fire, it took us 2 minutes to get to the scene. The recent Techiman fire, 1 minute to get to the scene. I've even lost count. Last year, around September, October, Kaswa Market, it took us 6 minutes to get to the scene. Northern region, the Timber Market fire, it took us barely 8 minutes to get to the scene. The Kwadaso Market fire somewhere last year in Kumasi, it took us barely 6 minutes to get to the scene. So the cliche that we don't arrive early to fire scenes, for me, it is not wholly what's on the ground. We have challenges with the proximity of our stations. We know that is a fact. We are not everywhere. So sometimes, depending on where the incident is happening, where maybe the closest fire station is about 20 minutes away, that is where we travel a bit of a distance, and it takes a bit of time for us to be able to get there. That is why, for the past few years, we have always been advocating for the local authorities, the assemblies, to help us build state-of-the-modern fire stations so that we'll be closer in the communities, so as to be able to respond within the international response time of 5 minutes. So we have been able to salvage property. As at 2024, we've been able to salvage properties worth over 500 million Ghana cedis. We were able to lose, properties worth about half of this amount that I've mentioned, all because of our pragmatic and dedicated service that we are always ever committed to give to the people of Ghana, just irrespective of the circumstances we find ourselves. So if we are adequately resourced to be able to take the gospel according to fire safety to the doorsteps of every nook and cranny of this nation. Let me tell you this. We have a department that is responsible for educating Ghanaians on fire prevention and safety. And this department has been up and doing. And just that, if we can give them a little push, they need utility vehicles mounted with PA systems. As I speak with you, even Kokomimle here, if we want to do serious, effective fire prevention education, it will take us not less than 3 months to be able to do this. But if you ask us, we are only able to make do with what we have now. And I'm happy that the current regime has heard our plea, and they are putting in adequate steps to be able to. But I want to quickly make this point.
Okay.
In as much as government has the sole responsibility of retooling the Ghana National Fire Service with the state-of-the-art equipment and then tools to be able to help us to deliver on our mandate. We as citizens who are mostly affected by these hellish fires take away our capital, destroy our livelihoods, and make life difficult for us. Some of us can take some initiatives. We know elsewhere they do. Why is it that we are not coming together? People are well connected. People have friends all over the world that they can even help us with, even use fire trucks, water tankers, and even PPEs to be able to serve their interest. But in Ghana here, we are not having that same kind of support. You know, we have places like East Legon, where we know we have the affluent people there. We have other infrastructure there. But we don't have a fire station. And we have all these affluent people there. Meanwhile, they can put themselves together and do something, because that is where their investments are. So if we would always want to sit aloof and say that it is the sole responsibility of government to resource fire service, yes, we agree. But if we can be bold enough to be citizens who want to impact their communities, citizens who want to take their own destinies into their hands and also do something. We want people to be able to adapt some of our stations, like I earlier on indicated. Some of the fire engines, the faults with them are minor, such that a radiator is leaking, and therefore it has been booked out of commission. A beacon light is not working. Their siren is not working. And it will not take somebody.
So you want individuals to come and help. As we wrap up the conversation,
some of the stations and then help with this maintenance regime.
As we wrap up the conversation, you have 2 minutes to answer this. I see how passionate you are about fire and fire-related issues. But when it comes to the market fires, how many personnel have you deployed to the fire, to the market specifically? And I see in your statement that they are required to provide daily situational reports. What would that report be used for as we wrap up the conversation?
All right, so let me give you this basic analysis.
Okay.
When you get to our stations, we run a shift system.
Okay.
So with our patrol team, those who mount the fire tender, on the average, they are about 7.
Okay.
So for each shift, you have 7 people manning the appliance. And every station has its own strength.
Okay.
And some have bigger human resource. In terms of the numbers, they have larger numbers than the others. So in terms of me giving you a specific number, that would be very difficult for me to do.
Okay.
But most of the people have been deployed. And it's not every community where we have our stations that we have markets. So definitely where we have these markets, especially the makeshift one, that is where a lot of our efforts are being channeled. So as we will do this continuous patrols, surveillance, and then this constant engagement with the relevant authorities to keep the fires at bay. And we remain committed to doing that, to ensure that these fires become a thing of the past. But we will need the cooperation, especially of the local authorities. If the assemblies who benefit from these markets do not support us, do not help us with the needed support, it is going to also affect our delivery or the success of this program. Because you and I know that we don't take tolls from these markets. It behooves on them. And then also I would want to passionately appeal to these local authorities that for us to be able to deal with this situation in the long term, these makeshift markets would have to be properly put up in a modern state so that we'll be able to enforce the needed safety protocols, such as enough exit routes, escape routes, fire protection equipment, and all that. So as if there's any fire-related emergency, we can quickly respond, evacuate the people, and then manage the fires there effectively.
And what would they be doing with the reports that they present daily?
Yes, the report is necessary so as to be able to come up with the needed contingencies to be able to deal with the fires. Mind you, some of them will be doing risk assessment. We'll be coming up with the various risks and then the hazards. And based on that, we would come up with strategies to even educate them to affect their behaviors so that they wouldn't burn their rubbish after close of the market and what have you, just to prevent these fires from occurring.
Thank you so much, Desmond Aka, for joining us here. He's head of public relations at the Ghana National Fire Service. Now, away from that, let's do some other stories now. The regent of Oponglo, Ni Soa III, has issued a strong warning to individuals vandalizing properties under the guise of reclaiming state lands in the name of oral. He warned such individuals to refrain from targeting Oponglo lands. The warning follows an attack in Shiashi, where thugs allegedly destroyed a private property, falsely claiming it is a state land. There's more in this report.
The thugs reportedly stormed this parcel of land at Shiashi near the Tetakwashi interchange on Monday, January 13, 2025. They allegedly vandalized the fence wall and other valuables under the guise of reclaiming what they believed to be state property. Alhaji Suleiman Bayo, a rep of the private developer IOP, narrates the incident to the press and calls on President John Dramani Mahama to take decisive action to rein in such lawless acts.
Yesterday, you know the marine plywood. When you look at the whole area, it was fenced with the marine plywood. This wall, when they were about to do the wall, the chiefs and everybody was around to did the wall. Now, you can see yourself. Look at the way they vandalize the wall. They break all these areas. And I don't think it's the best. They stole all the plywood. They stole, as we are talking, they stole all the plywood away. And I believe Ora won't come and take your plywood. What I can tell the president is, I believe he has thought through the Ora thing, and the Ghanaians have bought into it. But we shouldn't allow people to use their personal interest to damage the intent of the Ora.
Regent of Oponglo, Ni Soa Ako Odoi III, clarified that the land in question is not a state property, citing Supreme Court ruling confirming its private ownership status.
It was a state land acquired in 1944 by the colonial government for the extension of the airfield. But after independence, the thing went to Ghana government. So after a lot of petition, we went to court to claim our property. The High Court gave it to us in 1917, and then 2017. And then in 2019, the Appeals Court affirmed what the High Court has done. And then they again took us to the Supreme Court, which affirmed what the Appeals Court has done. What we are saying is, everybody should clear off the land.
Meanwhile, East Legon Assembly member Benjamin Norte confirmed the Assembly's role in leasing the land to the private developer.
The Assembly has obtained Mr. Opoku a permit for this project. As for that, there's a must. I know, I can confirm it.
The issue has since been reported to the police. The developer and traditional authority are urging the president to intervene for justice. For Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Shiashi.
To an emotional story now. It was an emotional farewell for 10-year-old Lisa Lai, whose battle with leukemia touched countless hearts. Family, friends, and her classmates gathered at Lashibi Funeral Home to pay her final respect to the young girl. Their final respect to the young girl. Now, she yearned to return to school, but sadly passed away while undergoing a bone marrow transplant in South Africa. There's more in this report by Emmanuel Jivenu.
Lisa's dream of returning to school to join her friends could not happen. Her mates are here to pay their final respect. Their tributes moved many to tears.
Nicknamed Malai by her friends and teachers, Lisa's calm and warm spirit made her truly unforgettable. Lisa, you will forever live in our hearts.
Her mother, Georgia Thompson, described her as a shining star who touched countless lives, even in her death.
Your stay on earth was short, but you gave me so much memories to live with. They will remain with me forever. You touched a lot of lives. Even in your death, you are still touching lives. Because of the star you are, your story has been heard all over the world and has created awareness for others. I know for a fact that this is what you wanted to do. Sleep well, my sunshine.
Diagnosed with leukemia, she embarked on a journey to South Africa for a life-saving bone marrow transplant thanks to the generosity of businessman Ibrahim Mahama, who funded her treatment. Her dream of becoming a pediatric oncologist and helping others fight cancer is now an inspiration to many.
Only 10 years, but Lisa lived effectively, and I can testify of it.
Although her life was short, Lisa's story will forever live on in the hearts of those who knew her. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Accra.
May her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. You're still watching News 6. We'll be back with business updates. Please stay tuned in.
Welcome back to Business on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. Minister for Energy designate John Jinapor has announced plans to introduce some amendment to the country's energy exploration laws to give incentives to investors willing to explore on the Volta Basin. This, he believes, will attract the best global exploration firms to take up blocks on the basin and other areas yet to be explored for oil production.
You are right, because in the upstream sector, crude oil volumes are declining rapidly. From a peak of 71 million barrels in 2019, 2023, we did only 48 million. So there's a sharp decline of 32%. And if nothing is done, the upstream sector will collapse. In the Volta Basin, I'm told they shot or shoot some 2D seismic data. I'm also told that they've done some parcels of allocation, which ought to come to Parliament. I intend that we'll review that immediately, within days or weeks. If I get your nod and I'm sworn in. If we review them and we'll find those agreements satisfactory, we'll immediately come to Parliament. But I hold the view that we should relook at 919. All our neighbors, their current and participating interest is 10%. And as we move through the energy transition, you must quickly tap your stranded assets. So we will do a stakeholder engagement and get a buy-in of Ghanaians and incentivize the upstream players to invest, because it's very expensive. And that is something that we intend to pursue aggressively, even as we go through the energy transition.
Now, in other development, demand for treasury bills soared on the money market as T-bills were oversubscribed by more than 55%. However, interest rates continue to surge, increasing the government cost of repaying these bills. There is more in this report.
The government got a remarkable 8.075 billion cedis from the sale of the short-term instrument, though was looking for 5.198 billion cedis to refinance the maturing bills. Government accepted all the bids tendered. A whopping 5.513 billion cedis came from the 91-day bills, representing 68.27% of the total bids. About 1.416 billion cedis were also tendered for the 182-day bill. On the other hand, 1.145 billion cedis were tendered for the 364-day bill. Meanwhile, interest rates edged further on the yield curve. The yield on the 91-day bill rose by 14 basis points to 28.33%. VAT of the 182-day bill also reached 28.96% from 28.91% the prior week. Similarly, the interest rate on the 364-day bill went up by 2 basis points to 30.17%.
That's all for business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki. For more business update, visit myjoyonline.com/business to get update on all comprehensive information, especially on business. Fosti.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, you know where to go, to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Good morning.
That's been